I'm not bothered, but I've got football to watch.
Oh yeah, forget football's on. Um,
See, I'm the other way around. I forget the cricket's on because
that's a good way to start this podcast, to be honest. I forget the cricket's on, so we're going to talk about the cricket. I mean, to be fair, I've very much not thought about this World Cup whatsoever. So welcome to Just Not Crick Pod and our review of this World Cup game of India and England, the semi-final. It is the day after the night before. India, of course, cruised to a 68 run victory against England, securing their place in the final of this probably eighth World Cup in about 2 years. Um, yeah, happy days. Did you watch the game, Jamie? Did you enjoy the game?
I I enjoyed India's innings,
Yeah.
sort of, in the way that you
Okay.
appreciate decent batting from some of their players.
Yeah.
And some of the bowling was right. The other innings was
Yeah.
shit.
We'll jump right into it before we go full kind of England meltdown, tears, feel saltiness. Um, India are very good. That is just, they are probably and should be the best team in the world in the tournament. Um, and they, like South Africa, who we'll come on to a little bit later, are unbeaten so far in the World Cup. Um, and I think this game just kind of epitomized how good they are because that pitch, getting 170 on a pitch that's slow, that's turning, that's difficult to bat on, is probably 30 plus runs above par. I think Butler said they probably got 22 runs too many, but I think you're looking at 30, maybe 40 more than is a good score. Um,
But how much are you trusting Butler's judgment
well,
on that?
exactly.
Like,
Oh, we'll come on
he,
to Butler.
yeah.
Um, but that's, I think they're a team that's incredibly adaptable positions because if, on a flat surface, you'd back them to get 200 plus. And then on a difficult surface and conditions that are probably similar to turning wickets in India, they're very adaptable and have a game plan, much unlike England. Um, and players just coming to the party, the World Cup party, when Kohli isn't doing anything, as you see, Kohli's cooked apparently. Um, hasn't basically scored a run all tournament. Um, and didn't again yesterday. But then you have people stepping up. Obviously, Rohit Sharma has been in great form. He's had two 50s on the bounce now against Australia, now England. Suryakumar Yadav, who's, you know, one of India's best in this format over the last few years. And then just little contributions from people like Hardik and, Axar throughout the innings to get to 170. I thought, yeah, there's this sense, I think, of appreciation, I guess, of good cricket, like you say. I mean, you want England to win, I suppose, sometimes, but they're just a very good team, and they've got all the aces. It feels like,
Like we've also had so many games where like they've been finishing, I don't know, 69 all out or something in
yeah,
the semi-finals or barely getting to 100.
hmm
And this innings felt like 160 around that would have been a competitive score, and India got above
yeah,
that, and they
yeah,
were in the driving seat from that. But the score they got felt like this game could have been actually competitive and go to the wire.
yeah.
Just what I want to see from the matches, which not a lot of them have been this tournament. And even
No,
if they have,
exactly.
they've been weird, stupid games that, like, for how good the USA Pakistan game was, it's still fucking strange game. And it wasn't, it was
I
a
know.
good watch, but it wasn't because it was a good cricket. But for
No,
like half of this match, it
it
looked
felt
like a
like proper
competitive
cricket.
match and it was good cricket.
Yeah,
And
yeah, for
then
sure. Like
and
little
then it
personal
wasn't.
battles, isn't it? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And then it wasn't. But then, battles between like people like Jofra and Rashid and stuff is, great to watch with, high quality batters. Um, but yeah, India, they've not done it I know they're unbeaten, but they've had to play on the New York pitches as well, which haven't been necessarily too easy, and they've got through all of those unbeaten. Um, had what kind of was a must-win game against Australia. I think even if they'd lost, they would have gone through. But then just absolutely breezed past Australia in that one. As they did Afghanistan, who caused trouble for everyone else in that group. most notably Australia. Um, so yeah, it's just yeah, they're just very good, and I've not even touched their bowling. Bumrah is just unplayable. I mean, I'll come back to Bumrah in a sec, but Kuldeep has been in ridiculous form. I think it's for a long time now, especially in that Test series we had against India in beginning of the year. And he's such an experienced player for them. Jadeja didn't even get any wickets yesterday, and that shows you how much depth they've got. Axar Patel all over England as he normally is. Um, but yeah, and then Bumrah, it just feels like Bumrah to go more than 24 off his 4 overs in a 2020 is such a rarity. Um, and he's just such a good bowler across formats as well. I think I was having a think about this earlier because I'm sad and just think about cricket in my spare time. But I think that he might be probably the best bowler I've seen. I think just because of his unique action, the skills that he's got, the ball that he got to dismiss Salt yesterday is pretty much a quick off spinner. But then he can quickly rack it up to 90 miles an hour the next ball. Um, he can swing it when it needs to be swung. Variations, doesn't go for runs. I just don't think there's anyone really quite like Bumrah. I don't think. I think if you think of all the other bowlers in the world, they tend to sometimes there might be a time where they go for a few or go wicketless. But I feel like every time Bumrah bowls, he's going to get at least two for and
Yeah,
not go for many.
you're never safe with Bumrah. Because,
No.
like, I was thinking there was one over, it was like slow ball, slow ball, slow ball. And, like, who's
Yeah.
doing that? Who's deciding I'm going to do
Yeah.
3 slow balls in a row only to then do it
Yeah.
quick? And I think he gets a
Yeah.
wicket in that over with another slow ball.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's like the thinking on his feet as well that isn't really touched on as much, like the ability and the control of the deliveries, but to like think in the moment all the time, this
For
is the
sure.
delivery, and like always deliver. And I
Yeah.
think we've spoken before about like bowlers that we wouldn't want to face. Like I know, like not us specifically, because I wouldn't want to face
Yeah. Any of them, but
any of
yeah.
them. Yeah, but like the seam bowl, like he's in top 3, top 5 all time of seam bowlers that you don't want to face. Like
Yeah.
McGrath, Wasim Akram. I put Malinga in there because it's just weird having a swingy
Yeah. Mingler is
ball.
peak, sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then Bumrah just like he might even top them for just technical ability alone with the ball. It's,
Yeah.
and it's good to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. Like
I
you
don't
you
care if
you
he's the rest
always
of New
watch him for
Zealand
something.
towels. It's just good.
Yeah. 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 And again, it's cross formats as well. I just think, it's such that unique action. He absolutely nails it time and time again. Um, he had an injury which put him out for a little while. I think he came back last year for that World Cup. Um, yeah, he's just good. I run out of superlatives, and he is just someone that you want to watch. He is box office, if you like, as they say. Um, and yeah, like I also get the sense, like you said, he's the kind of bowler you don't want to face, and I get that vibe from teams when I'm watching them face Bumrah. Because, like I said, it's very rare to see Bumrah get taken apart. Um,
They sort
and
of
it
try and
always
see
seems
him
like,
out, don't they?
yeah, what can we get off Bumrah? If we can get like, I remember that Butler got 8 off one of his overs yesterday, and they're all saying, "Oh, that's a good result off Bumrah." It's like, but you need to get like over 8 and over to win. You need to be getting that. You can't say that's a great result. Like, but I just get a sense that they are just we'll get what we can get and then
Yeah.
move on from there. Um, so yeah, excellent. I think just good to watch. Um, but yeah, I probably favorites for Sunday, not Sunday, tomorrow. Um, and you can go on, I guess, about all the prologue stuff to this game that if it had been washed out, then India would have just gone through because they topped the group. The fact that India knew that they were going to be playing this semi-final even before the tournament began. Um, the fact that maybe pitch favored them more than England, all that kind of stuff doesn't matter. They still have to win the games. Um, they still had to top the group to get to this point, and then get through to the next stage. So I said yesterday, part of me is kind of annoyed that it wasn't rained off just because I would have loved the absolute meltdown It would just have been some of the greatest stuff to ever see. Because I think it's a stupid rule, and there should be reserve days for both semi-finals. I don't understand why this T20 World Cup has suddenly been so drawn out, and then at the last second, it's like, no, we've run out of time. We have to jam everything within a couple of days. Um, but yeah, I do kind of wish it was rained off just for the funniness.
I mean, they could have easily done the semi-finals this weekend and then done like
Yeah,
a third, fourth playoff banter game on
yeah,
Wednesday before having the final next Saturday. But
yeah.
that's probably like going into other cricket schedules that they can't go into because there's so much
Well,
cricket
exactly. Well,
scheduled
yeah,
all
you're
the
right.
fucking time. And there's like
Exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah. I
think
mean,
next week is the next World Cup, so they can't
probably is. Yes.
overlap with that. But
Yeah, oh, it's mental. But yeah, England's first Test match is the 10th of July, so it's a very quick kind of turnaround for that. So it doesn't stop. So that's probably why, like you say, schedules galore. Um, right. I guess we'll then move on from here's that wonderful India praise. You've got that India fans, very good team, great stuff.
not lucky
Um,
at all.
no,
I'm
not at
not.
all.
No, I'm
I'm
not saying
yeah,
that with any sarcasm. I'm saying that to piss off Australia.
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it was also quite funny for the Australia to be knocked out and Afghanistan played very well. Not going to really go talk about the South Africa Afghanistan game because it was over in about 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Um, but Afghanistan did very well to get to that semi.
I
And
I genuinely saw some highlights that were 40 seconds.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's a blink and you miss it. I remember I didn't sleep well that evening, and I sort of woke up. Oh yeah, Afghanistan and South Africa are playing. I might as well check the score, and it was already over, and it
yeah,
was very early in the morning. I was like, oh, okay. Um, so yeah, never mind. But yeah, the game they had against Bangladesh was very funny, all that drama, and Australia losing that game against Afghanistan. Australia, I think that kind of luck has kind of come to its end. The fact they dropped so many catches, they didn't deserve to get into knockout stages. Didn't play particularly well throughout the tournament, but then let's talk about England, who are miles worse. Um, so the game as a whole for this semi-final, um, just a bit weird. So you had all the pitch chat. Like we said, they got to 170, which is a very, very good score for that pitch. But then it also seems that a lot of people were ready to use that as an excuse that, oh, it's a spinning pitch, it's tricky to bat on, it favors India's bowlers. England are going to really struggle there. And that kind of annoys me because it's like England probably play more cricket than anywhere else. All these players have played in India before. They've all played on spinning pitches. I don't understand why it always gets to the stage where England are 103 all out against primarily spinners. Why it's sort of like, oh, but no, India are just too good and they've got those spinners and they are better in those conditions. It's like, well, you should know how to play these conditions by now, right? Is that
and then
too
strange then.
simplistic of me to think?
No, like it's also strange then that India bowling three spinners out of three spinners, and England are bowling
Yep.
one of their main spinners and a batter who bowls leg spin decently,
Yeah.
and then just not bowl Mo at all.
Ridiculous.
I,
Men.
I was watching
Oh,
it and thinking, have I missed Mo having an injury or
yeah.
something? Like, why is he not bowling?
Yeah.
Like, you can say
Because
everything you
it's
like about
mental.
the pitch, but you have to use the pitch and
Yeah.
all your weapons at your disposal to use it. And if you're not going to fucking use Moeen Ali, who's the second best spin bowler in your team,
Yeah.
then you deserve to lose. Get
Yeah.
fucked. It just
It's stupid. It's just it's matchup stuff, data analysis, all gone absolutely mental. The word matchups I just wish was banned from any kind of cricketing team.
like,
The fact that you're saying that Moeen Ali, who's got over 200 Test match wickets and a very big handful of white ball wickets, can't bowl in right against right-handers in T20 games because it's not a good matchup is absolutely ridiculous. He's such an experienced bowler. You're not going to bowl Kuldeep against left-handers, which he did, and then I think he got Mo out as well, didn't he? Was it Kuldeep who got Mo out? Yeah. Like just because they're not bowling to the matchup doesn't mean that they're worthless. Worthless. It's just I don't understand.
it's not like there's no left-handers in the India team either. Like Pants in at three, Jadeja
Yep.
was in. I'm sure I'm missing someone else.
Dubé is a left-hander, but he was only in one ball. But yeah, yeah, I
But
know.
like, and like you said, like he's a professional elite level cricketer. I'm
Yeah,
sure he can bowl to right-handers
yeah,
and give them some trouble. Like,
yeah.
I, yeah,
It's yeah. I feel like England just take it so ridiculously. Well, I think a lot of other teams around the world just don't, and they'll just play their best bowlers
mm,
against, the other teams. And I don't think any like Zampa, for example, would bowl at left-handers for Australia. Why is Mo? I don't think Mo's the best spinner in the world, but like I say he's experienced on that pitch in particular. When you saw like Rash's first couple of overs, it's slow, it's spinning a lot, it's difficult to play. You 100% get Mo on. Like even if he goes for 15 in his first over, we'd be like, okay, maybe it's not quite a pitch from Oval, but we've given it a go. The fact he didn't bowl at all, and he normally bowls the first or second over in a T20, and he has done quite frequently. And then this game is just like, nah.
and you're
I
doing that while Curran and Jordan are going at 12.
yeah,
Like, you can see
I
what the
know.
pitch is doing. Like, if you're going to bowl
Yeah,
Curran and Jordan, at least tell them bowl some cutters and
yeah,
like make the Indian batters think and try and do something different.
yeah. It
I
almost becomes that you match up so heavily that it then becomes so predictable for the opposition
yeah,
that like they'll be knowing, oh, we know that Mo's not going to bowl in this sense. And I'm pretty sure it was similar in the last World Cup or the World Cup before that, or many of the World Cups. It's always been the way. It's like we can't bowl Mo because it's not left-handers. It drives me nuts.
mhm.
That's probably last of Mo's. We won't see Mo bowl again for England. Um, it's just matchups just really annoy me. It's one of the I think it's the biggest thing about this team. It really just frustrates. Like Butler coming out after the game and saying, "Oh yeah, we probably should have bowled Moeen." It's like, well, why did you not just think that during the game? Why is that so clear to everyone else, but not the leadership group of this team? Um,
It
and
shows
then in the
it's a
end, they get,
conscious decision, doesn't it? Like,
yeah,
you
exactly, yeah.
know
It's
you're not
like,
doing
mhm,
the thing that you should be doing.
yeah,
I don't understand what kind of mentality that is. Like,
yeah,
do the thing that you should be doing.
yeah, yeah. I think that also showcases the mentality of a captain as well. That if you're
Yeah.
not willing to budge from such a preconceived plan before you've even gotten onto the pitch, it's just balmy, balmy army.
And like
So
said,
yeah,
sorry, you said earlier that Butler said something about them being 22 runs short, or
20 runs or whatever,
India
yeah,
having 20. Like that seems a very specific stat to pull out, and it sort of just drives home how data heavy England are. Like I feel like most people get that impression anyway. They just feel like they're completely controlled by data. Like you need to use the data, but you need to use the context as well. You can't just say this bowler can't go against this batter because they've got a bad matchup, like you said, or they've bowled poorly against them in the past. It's like it's not as if Warner can't not bat against Broad. He still has to bat
exactly,
against someone he's got a bad like history
yeah,
against,
yeah.
and he's not gonna fucking complain about it.
I know. It's yeah, it's just mental. And like you said, I don't think any other team does it. Like, it's batters as well have to deal with it all the time. Like they're going to face bowlers, so they particularly like I hate but facing left arm bowlers in cricket, but you still got to do it. Um, it's just yeah, hate it. So yeah, so like you say, there was all that kind of data specifics, kind of 15, 20 runs short. It's stats are very readily available to everyone that are no, I think that's the highest score in a day game in a T20 at Guyana. And I feel like all those stats are just all just processed so much from England that we have to aim to restrict them around 150. And then by sticking so rigidly to that plan, they then get over 150. It's just nonsense. I wish there was just more, actually thinking outside the box. And like in a similar way that Stokes would as a captain, I don't think it always goes right for Stokes. I think sometimes a bit too funky, but at least you get the sense of Stokes that he'll just try whatever. If like something's not going right, he'll turn to someone else or not stick to a particular plan and just go off vibes, which I think vibes you can plan, of course. You can plan and say this player doesn't bat well against this person. So we will try and tailor for that, but you have to be adaptable.
It's
Um,
instinct and like following
yeah,
your gut, but you're doing that.
yeah,
It's not like some sort of abnormal supernatural thing that's just coming to you. It's
yeah,
because you're basing that instinct on what you've seen from the match unfolding,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you're executing
Adapting.
that plan that you think is going to work from evidence. Is just in that moment,
Yep.
the only like way you can show that evidence is through like a feeling, through not something that
Thinking on
is,
your feet.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not something on a computer. It's something that you've got in your brain
Yeah.
and you're processing it second by second,
Yeah.
which Butler
Rubbish.
doesn't do.
Yeah. It's absolute rubbish. Um, So yeah, moving on because yeah, obviously not bowling well was not just the whole reason why England lost the game. I don't think England bowled very well just generally. I thought Jofra was a bit off it yesterday. I don't think Curran bowled particularly well. I've been kind of an advocate for Curran being in the team because he probably should have started, as should have Topley. But I don't think Curran bowled well yesterday. Rash and Livingston were the pick of the bowlers because obviously it's a helpful more pitch for them and they did that pretty well. Jordan ended up with 3 wickets after his hat trick in the last game. Like he bowled fine, but again, going for runs, which is kind of the Jordan way, um, especially at the end, where it looked like they might be restricted around 160, 155, and then they got up to 170. Um, yeah, I just think it was a very kind of a bit of a messy bowling performance, especially for a semi-final, but against a very good India team as well, just to preface that. Um, but then batting wise, just kind of shambolic. It's just like it's just I mean for a semi as well, it's kind of the carbon copy. Oh, sorry, the absolute opposite than the previous semi-final in Adelaide when England obviously chased down a similar score, none down. Um, to be 103 all out, 3 all out after 16.4 overs, started quite brightly, but then after being 26 for none, ended up being 49 for five. It was just I've just seen that kind of innings from England
Mhm.
so much, like after over almost 20 years. It's just it's like oh, it's spinning. Well, that's that.
Mm.
Can't do anything about that, lads. That's oh, never mind. It's just it. Why did it take until Jofra at the end for that to have some kind of impetus and then actually try and hit down the ground and hit sixes down the ground? And there were so many wickets from kind of just trying to nudge Mo running down, not really trying to be aggressive, but just trying to flick one round. Joss's kind of switch hit, Bairstow, Brooke, who played all right before he was bowled. It was Sam Curran. It was all very tame. There was no kind of like
Yeah.
we're taking the game to India at all. It was all sort of like we'll try and get as close as we can and see what happens. Um,
Like the only one
but
I
then it
felt
ends up, yeah,
was taking it to them or trying to was Brooke.
yeah,
Like he
yeah,
did a sort
yeah,
of like semi-advanced reverse sweep, and
yeah,
then he kind of tried to do it again the next ball, and that was
yeah,
his wicket. Like
yeah,
obviously the bowler is going to do something different.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So you've got to
yeah.
adapt and play the ball.
You have to, yeah.
I know it's a bit of a premeditation shot, but like, come on, you can.
It was like such a difficult shot to pull off. I know I think Kuldeep did the change up for that one because that was the more traditional leg spinner, I
Yeah,
think. So it turned more. But you're trying to hit a reverse. He played it very well the ball before, but I think that one was straighter. But then that one he's then trying to hit in the same place, but then it's spinning away from him more. So you've got to reach for it. I don't know how you make that angle. It's just that kind of reading of the game. And it just feels weird that there was no other real straight shots.
mhm,
Like it took until I know Joffrey, it was towards the end, England already lost by that point, but he hit two straight sixes, which were mammoth ones as well. Joffrey for captain. Um, but it just felt like no one else in that innings tried to do anything the same. It's just always trying to sweep out of trouble or just play against across the line for spinners, which is just going to be that's just never going to work against India at all. Like it just felt limp and it felt rubbish and just was boring and horrible to watch. It's like we've seen this story before. Um, just no good. I like
yeah,
I haven't really got much more analysis other than that to say about it. Um, other than the fact they just saw it as spinning, and as soon as Kuldeep, Axar, and Jadeja came on, it was white flag stuff.
yeah. I mean, it kind of the performance sort of followed over from the bowling performance. Like from the
Yeah,
very start in the power play, there wasn't any real control. With
no,
especially top league Curran, I thought their wickets were undeserved. Is probably harsh, but probably about
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Joffre wasn't full Joffre, but still in that power play, he was the one still
Yeah.
relatively low economy at the time.
Yeah. There's a few player misses from Rowett and stuff like that, I remember.
But then that lack of control in the
Yeah.
bowling just seeps over into the batting.
Yep.
And if they're already thinking that they're going to struggle with it, that's going to just
Yep.
go into the physical act of their batting. And
Yeah.
they were kind of already going to lose because that's the kind of mindset they had going into the innings.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's just they felt I just generally believe their mentality was like, that's way too much. We can't chase that down. Um, and it just kind of I just didn't see a game plan. They had obviously Joss was showing kind of impetus at the beginning, but then nudging and nurdling, how close can we get? It was just yeah, it felt a very tired team, which feels like the same criticism people would have given after the 50 over World Cup. And it's like, well, nothing's been learned then. It's just yeah, I mean, we'll get on to the other stuff, future planning in a bit, but how would you think this World Cup will be viewed? Because I mean, I've not really got anything else to say about this batting performance because it was just, yeah, white flag stuff. Do you think they'll assess this World Cup performance as we got to a semi final? That's pretty good. Or do you think they'll actually see the reality in that it's not been very good? They've only beaten one test playing nation and that they would need to change up things? Or do you think it's going to be head in the sand ECB stuff?
I mean, it should be we need to change. It's we've played probably the only team that we are worse than and didn't show any fight.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't if you can't show up against teams that are of similar quality or better than you, then you're never going to
Yeah.
win anything. If you're only
Yeah.
beating teams that you're better than, there's like you again, you're not going to win anything because
No,
they're
not at all.
not going to get to the finals because you're beating them before they get to the final.
Yeah.
But it feels like, oh, it's the fourth T20 World Cup in a row that England has managed to get to a semi-final at least.
Yeah.
So something must be
That
going
sounds
right.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it must be
it's
good.
good on paper, isn't it? But
Yeah. Yeah. They've 100% burgled this. Like it's they've beat like you said they've beaten all the teams they'd expect to beat and beaten them very well because half of these other teams don't have anywhere close to England's cricket structure domestically. Um, they beat West Indies and I think that was a pretty good win considering how decent I thought West Indies were. Lost to South Africa being very good. And were abject against Australia, which we've spoken about before. Poor against Scotland. Um, giving away 90 in 10 overs. I think the rain did save them that one, no matter what people say. Um, and who else did they play?
they had
USA, and they
yeah
beat USA.
yeah
Okay. And I think USA did pretty well, but that was the last game of their tournament. And, I think probably a bit tired at that point, which is fine. So it's not. So just a few stats across this very quickly before we go on to much more wider stuff. So this is from Yasrana from Wisdom. Um, so over the last two World Cups, they have 3 wins in 12 against full member nations. So that's over the 50 World Cup and the T20 World Cup. So only 3 wins against other test playing nations is not a sign of a good white ball team,
no.
would you say?
If you can't beat teams that are of a similar quality or better than you, you're not going to win anything.
Yeah, exactly. And it just feels like they feel like they are going to be they're trying to be a clever team. Like again, this is again from Yes, in that they are trying to be clever and imaginative of selection. And for example, Sam Curran has batted 30 times for England in T20s, 27 of them at number 6 and number 7, and he averages 9.6 and strikes at 100. But every time it's like when you left hand room, we send in Sam Curran, he's never done anything. It's sort of like you need to be looking at what this is obviously not working, and how has it taken this long for you to realize that's not a thing that's working? Okay, so another quick stat for you. about
Go
England's recent performances. So since their last T20 World Cup win in 2022, they've played 27 ODIs, won 11, lost 15, no result won. T20s, played 22, won 10, lost 11, no result won. Um, Again, as we mentioned, that also includes the fact that they've only had 3 wins against full members in the last 12 games as well. Um, Kind of feels that it's at a crossroads. I would have thought this should have been after the 50 over World Cup, but it felt as though they wanted to roll out the carpet again for a few players one more time. Like wanting, good finishes for people like Bairstow and Mo and Jordan, Rashid, and wanted to finish off on the high. And I think only Adil has been anywhere close to staying in this team. He's had a very good World Cup, as he always does. He always performs. Um, do you think, I guess, are we changing the whole team? Do you reckon? Who do you think stays out of this current bunch? Because
let me get the 11 up.
I,
I'm gonna go ham.
yeah. Because I put my notes. My question is, any positives at all?
No,
I think Rashid is good. It's good to have Jofra back. I think he's not quite as at his best, but is pretty good. And Salt has been pretty good over the last year. Um, and Butler's been Butler. That's kind of
yeah.
where I'm at.
I mean, of the 11, if we go through
Mm,
them, keep
yeah,
Salt.
yeah,
Butler's the interesting one. I think if he's just opener and wicketkeeper, fine. Because even
captain.
in the semi-final, he showed no, he's got to not be captain anymore. He can't keep going with that. But at least in the semi-final, he did still show some batting ability.
Yeah,
So it's very hard to drop that.
I don't think you could possibly drop Butler. I just wonder whether he wants to do it.
I
That's
mean,
my thought process.
give him the option of this or IPL. He goes IPL.
He could just play franchise cricket now. Say
Yeah,
I've done my time. I mean, I obviously playing for England is the big all and end all, but I don't know whether that is going to be for him anymore. Just the weight of it just seems to be very heavy on him.
yeah. And
Might just be because he's captain,
yeah,
but
I'd be fine with that. Like I'm kind of done with
yeah.
it.
I
So
mean,
it's
he's kind of done everything he could in the game. We'll see. I think if he announced that he was not going to play international cricket for England anymore, sure. I mean, how old is Butler? Like you, Butler. He
32.
is 33. So he'll be 34 this year. Um, so he's closer to the end than he is at the beginning, basically. Um, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. He could very much come back. He's going to have a break from cricket after this before the 100 starts, um, which is about a month or so. Maybe he'll come back reinvigorated, but might only play T20s or something. Who knows? And focus in the India T20 World Cup in a couple of years' time. Um, so Butler's got the big old question, I think, but I think that's mostly because of his decision. But I agree that he shouldn't stay on as captain anymore. I think it's too much Morgan 2.0 trying to cling on to the old ideas and the old vibe. And I think you just need a complete fresh
Yeah,
mindset.
just let him bat in the team if
Yeah.
he still wants to continue, and just let that be it. If we can
And be
find
an
another,
experienced head.
like if we can get another wicket keeper in there to let him just bat, then
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Um,
And then if you're giving captaincy to a younger player, like, a Sam Curran, a Harry Brook, a Jofra. I've seen Duckett being talked about a lot, which is quite a bold claim considering he's not in the team at the moment. But if you're giving it to a younger player and then you can still have Joss in the team as an experienced head, then I think that's a nice transition thing. But I think, yeah, move him along.
yeah,
Um,
Besto out. He's done.
I think so.
It's too many
He's,
times he's had highs and then back to his lows. He does that in all.
I know, yeah.
I can't. He's done. No.
Yeah, I
No, no,
think
no, 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 no. He's done.
Besto is my
He's done. We
prefix
don't
in
need
that
to
the
talk
fact
about
that
Besto.
he had the issue of the injury and he would never be the same player again post that injury, and that's just unfortunate.
I think
I
he's
think
been
that's the
the
way it
same
is.
player. I don't think he's changed much. Like
From that,
he was
that form he
incredible
had,
during that time,
yeah.
but I still feel like if he didn't get out injuries, he'd still have the inconsistency in his game because that's just the kind
I
of
think, yeah.
it's the kind of
Yesterday,
way he plays
yeah,
anyway. So he's going to have more inconsistencies naturally. But
yeah.
I,
I mean, yesterday
I
was the showcase of all of Bairstow's issues over the many years, and the fact, Axar Patel got him out so many times in this tour in like 2020, and it's like, okay, nothing's changed. It's like this game plan is not adapted. You still struggle against that kind of spin, um, and I think you're right. I don't think there's really anywhere further that his game can go now.
Mhm.
Um, so I would say he probably would struggle on merit. He would struggle to get in any of the teams at the moment, but I imagine he'll probably still play the tests this summer.
yeah. I mean, does he get into India's team? No.
No, no.
Brooke, keep Brooke.
Yeah, Brooks stays all formats.
Very
Definitely.
boring choice for potential next captain, and I don't think he should be based on his performances still feeling a bit inexperienced and
Yeah.
so
But
just
at
let
the same time, I'm just sort of like, it feels like the white ball teams that are very much, it's not, feels like it's very dramatic to say rock bottom, but I'm not going to say it's far off. I think if you're only beating three other full member nations in two World Cups, then something is pretty wrong. And you can gloss over it by saying, "Oh, we got to a semi-final," but just because some of the other teams didn't turn up, I think it's. Um, so I would say if you're looking for a player who's nailed on to be in the team, then they're probably likely going to have to be the captain. I would imagine. Whilst I think everyone else has maybe got question marks about them.
yeah, I just think it's a very England choice for
Yeah,
captain, and we've
yeah,
done that choice before, and it's
yeah,
clearly not worked.
yeah.
It
We'll
would just,
see.
yeah. Mo, he's got to be done.
I think that's it. Just a disappointing end. I think he just should have finished when the Ashes finished. Personally,
I mean, you mentioned it about everyone hanging on to the Morgan era, but like they had the perfect opportunity when they actually won the T20
yeah,
World Cup to
yeah.
like start building in a new
Start
era.
afresh. Yeah.
But
That was complete. That team won that World Cup because it was still Morgan's
yeah,
basically team. Morgan only retired the summer just gone. Mott was still young, still new into the job. Um, and it was still very much like riding the wave. We'll quickly call back Stokes, bring back Hales, who's in really good form. All these jigsaw pieces just slot together nicely. But then you see 2 years on with Mott and Butler planning that it's just been a farce. So yeah, I think that was the time for a lot of players to hang up the boots, but no.
yeah. Livingston probably got a spot, but
I don't
it's
know
a
anymore.
strange one.
He played very well against South Africa with Brook, and I think he can be a destructive batter, but how often does he do it? They
Yeah,
always hide him at like number seven. They
mhm.
never give him an opportunity to actually do anything other than be a finisher. Um, so what is he? He's just a bits and pieces cricketer for England. I think he should be better than that, but I don't know. I think he's getting the opportunities to do that.
Like if we can move him up to like 4, 5, just see
Yeah,
what he can do.
yeah,
But it's like you said, he's got the destructive power. It's just I don't have any trust in him to do that.
yeah,
I've seen too
no,
many single digit scores
yeah,
when I've been expecting a at least a quick 20 or
yeah, yeah.
six
I know.
balls or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Sam Curran, I'd fuck him off.
yeah.
I
I
think
mean, he's
he's
only 24, isn't he?
I don't know, he's just feels like he's part of the old era. It feels
Yeah.
like he's ingrained into that, and he's not particularly set this World Cup up. Like, I know he had a decent one last time. He just doesn't. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
feeling it.
again, my
This is a
problem with his
vibey
team.
pick
Yeah,
or lack or
I
drop.
yeah. He just doesn't. I don't like Livingston. I don't know what he necessarily brings now. Like he had a very good 2022 World Cup where he was very much like the cutters, slower ball, all that kind of stuff into the pitch, reliable, didn't go for many runs. But like that stat I did from Yasrana just now, like they almost see him as like a number six, top six bat. And he's like, he's not that. And instead, he might be at franchise level, but at international cricket, no way. And then bowling wise, when he doesn't get it right, he's very easy to get away. He's not like an Arshdeep Singh or a Reece Topley at his best. Um, he's just a kind of slowish, not slow, but he's a medium pace left arm bowler who's not an opening bowler. He's not a death bowler. He's a couple of overs in the middle bowler at this stage. He might grow into something else, but right now, I don't know what he is.
Yeah, if you don't know what spot he is in the team, how can
Yeah,
you like pick him
yeah,
confidently?
yeah.
the thing is, I think England know what they want him to be. They're
But
just
whether he
wrong.
is that, yeah,
Yeah, they they're just wrong.
yeah,
Um, George is done.
Georgia done, gone.
Uh,
I saw so many people like do one of those kind of meme apology forms for people being like, who writ off Chris Jordan when he got four for against the USA, and even when he got three for yesterday. I'm like, but that's it's not really the point. I mean, it was. I loved seeing him get that hat trick against USA. It was a lot of fun. It was good vibes. All his family were there. Um, Brilliant stuff. But you do have to preface that with it's the USA.
yeah,
um, he got 2 and 2 balls last night at back end of the innings, doing the job he should do, but he still went at over 12 runs and over. Um, he wasn't in the starting best 11 for the last World Cup. I don't see how he is in the best 11 now. It just confuses me. He's had a couple of two last games, but it's kind of thanks for your time.
yeah.
See you later. If
It,
we're sacking off Jimmy our first game of the summer, then Chris Jordan can easily go. Like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure both of us wouldn't sack off Jimmy, but
yeah, yeah. But if that's going to be their
no, yeah.
mentality,
If
then
well,
yeah,
if that's the case, then they sack off Rashid. Then
yeah,
he's not
I
next
would.
on the list that I'm jumping
We'll
on.
get to him.
But no, we'll do Rashid now. Like I,
I've,
I'd still keep him around because he's still the best bowler.
he is. I just think there are other young spin options that can have now a sole opportunity to build. So you can look beyond Rashid and Mo, like England are now looking beyond Broad and Jimmy, that you can go for Rayan, Tom Hartley, um, Jax as your kind of Mo-ish kind of replacement. Um, I think Rashid easily still gets into the best team, like Jimmy still gets into the best test team, I think. But what's he staying for? Is he going to play the Champions Trophy next year? Is he still going to play 50 over cricket? I don't know. And then the next T20 World Cup is in 2 years' time. Surprised it's not in a couple of weeks. But I don't. He'll be 38 by then, which is he's only a spinner. But again, I don't know if he's going to be a bit like Joss and be like, I'll just franchise it now.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think yeah,
but I think same sort of
he's yeah
mindset with Jimmy is you keep him around and you can
yeah
help bed in the youngsters,
yeah. I
even
agree.
if like you've got it with the mindset that he won't even be playing the next World Cup. You can just sort of
Yeah,
keep going,
be
keep
that experience to build around. Yeah,
just
yeah,
keep the result momentum kicking. Like if England
yeah,
get on a roll with a bit of a refreshed team and Rashid's in there, just
yeah,
keep him in there and every now and then take him out and see if the
yeah,
team can keep the momentum and
yeah. I
just
mean, we'll see. I mean, if he stays in the team, I'm not going to be mad about it. Um,
yeah.
but then on the same brush, I'll be like, well, don't drop Jimmy at the same time. But then that's just a different matter. Um, who next?
Do Jofra next because it's
Yeah, Joffre, obviously.
like
Yeah, of
there's one thing
course.
keeping Jofra out of the team and it's not his ability or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, gets in every time.
Yeah. Topley, I think is an interesting one. I think he's
Because I don't know where they are with top. I don't know where they are with Topley in terms of picking him. The fact he didn't start this tournament. Like
yeah,
he's been England's best opening bowler in T20 cricket over recent years. Um, but then they didn't start him here, so that almost says to me, I don't know whether they see him as kind of like a David Milan, where they're reluctant to play him in a way. I don't. It might be harsh on their thought process, but he should have started this tournament.
yeah.
That's it.
I like Topley. He just doesn't feel to me like an elite level. Like
Yeah,
they're obviously all elite because they're fucking international cricketers, but he's not like the very top
yeah,
bowler that you
yeah,
need to win these tournaments. And when you've got a team with Chris Jordan and you're not bowling Mo and Livingston
yeah.
option,
Hmm.
you need one of your two mainline seam bowlers. You need both of them to
Yeah,
be that top tier. Like, just look at India with Arshdeep and Bumrah. Like,
yeah, yeah. Agree.
kind of all,
Um,
and Australia always have about seven seam bowlers they can pick.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They've always
And
had an abundance.
like, they're always top quality bowlers. Like, South Africa have had Ngidi and Rabada for ages, and before that, it was Morkel and Stain.
Yeah.
Just, I don't feel like Topley fits into that category. Like,
No, maybe not.
maybe Topley is literally the Jordan replacement, and we need to figure out a spot for
Potentially.
who's our like other prime seam bowler.
Yeah.
I just don't know who
Because
that.
I mean, because you are picking top as an out and out bowler because he's not an all rounder
Yeah,
at all. So you have to weigh up whether his inclusion is going to get you the boomer effect. Is he going to get you 2 to 3 wickets every game, guaranteed? I'd probably say no. Um, I mean, I'd probably stick with him just because he has experience now, and then you can play newish bowlers around him as well at the same time. But no idea. So yeah, well, again, I won't be angry either way. I don't think with Topley. Um, have you got the other squad members, or do you want me to round them off for you?
you can round them off because the BBC is awkward.
So you've got Mark Wood.
Oh, that's a tough one because how broken is he?
I think pretty broke. I mean,
Yeah,
they
like,
gave him a 3-year contract across forms, so
mm,
that would say to me that they want to play him. Um, but I would say you've got to pick a format for him now. And I think he's probably going to be the best in tests at this stage of his career. Um, Especially if you want to get the most out of him in tests, and if you want to take him to the Ashes, which is just everyone only cares about that. So I'd say pack up the white ball and just focus on red ball now.
yeah, I agree with that. Like, even if it's not test match, he needs to pick one
Yeah.
or not.
And I don't think he didn't do well in the 50 over World Cup, and he was very expensive in this World Cup as well. So I think he just bowls fast, and I think you sometimes need more than that.
Yeah,
Um, we have also got Will Jacks.
I mean,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean he didn't play much of his World Cup, only played the first couple of games, but I think he's got potential to grow. So he's got to be the people you look at to invest in, like Phil Salt. So sure,
if we're fucking off a load of players, then like he's got
got
a
to keep
spot.
some.
He's got a free spot. We need to put people in.
Yeah, you got a free spot. Are you available? Are you available to play on Sunday for the Wicket Whippets? Um, Duckett, yeah, I'd say sure. I think he
Like,
probably should have
try
played
him
this
out.
game.
Mm.
I think controversially, I would play the next two of the squad in the game yesterday. I know it's very good in hindsight, but I would have played Duckett for Bairstow because he plays spin very well, um, considering the pitch, and I would have played Tom Hartley for Sam Curran.
I mean, we needed another spinner in there somewhere,
Yeah, yeah,
and Hartley
yeah,
is the most logical. Well, the most logical thing was you had the other spinner in the team,
yeah. They have spin to bowl. Yeah,
but
yeah,
and like if you weren't going to bowl Mo, you could have had Jackson
yeah,
in the team, and then if you wanted the option of Jackson, you've got Jackson.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That seems like the captain's choice to make,
It does.
or not to make.
So Tom Hartley, would you be happy with Tom Hartley?
Um, I still feel like it's very early in his England career as a whole to judge him.
Hmm.
Even like test level, he had that great
Yeah,
start, but I think even then, just like be chill on how we judge him and see
yeah, I
where he
agree.
goes from here.
But
Like
I would
if
definitely
he
give him
gets a few games, then
yeah,
sure, we've got to
give him
try
some
out.
games this summer, 100%. I think Leach is back fit, so Leach will be back in for the test summer, no doubt. So give Hartley some of the one dayers, which who knows we're playing um over the summer and
Yeah,
see how he goes. I think that'll
it,
be fine.
it's a why not, basically.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Um, in terms of other players, I've not really got the time nor patience to really think about who to bring in. But I guess like Sam Hain springs to mind. Um, Josh Tongue when he's fit. Um,
Uh,
because everyone goes on. Sorry,
I was going
I
to say
mean, yeah,
back in the mood, but the mood's the same when he's
he's
fit.
back. He's playing again. So yeah, sure. John Simpson, I think is a good shout. Um, Ollie Robinson at Durham potentially. So like, I think you can just look at the newbies.
Mhm.
Who's part of that wealth of talent of white ball players that we have supposedly, and who can come in and do a job. Rayan, obviously. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
Rian
see.
Ahmed is the obvious standout of that.
Yeah.
But
And he's
then,
a better
like,
batter than someone like Mo at the moment or Sam Curran. So he could be that. floaty kind of batter if you want him to be a batter.
He is the kind of player they should be using as they're using Livingston.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah,
And then if he gets knocked around a bit, then you can bowl someone else. And
agree.
yeah,
Cool. Thank God we don't have to talk about white ball cricket again for a while. Jesus Christ. Um, so the last question, I guess. My name is Mott's good enough. Is Matthew Mott staying the job or is he off?
nah, I'd fuck him off as well. Don't know who would
Yeah,
get
I
in,
agree.
but
I I just don't know. This is gonna be my final point. I don't know what he brings or what he does. Like all the stuff before this, it's just been I'll just do what was good before. Yeah, I'll play these, I'll bring back Stokes this World Cup and he can come in and play and do this. We'll try and pick off the bits that worked previously and then maybe that'll work. Oh, that's not worked. I'll just, whatever. There's nothing about this team that says this is a team of Matthew Mott and Joss Butler. Maybe a new captain will help bring that, but I just feel nothing for this.
no, does it even kind of diminish his achievements, not the team's achievements,
Yeah,
his achievements with the Australian women's team? Like,
yeah, yeah,
basically, you could have had any coach for that team. I could have coached them. I could have, and coached
yeah,
nothing. They could have just
yeah.
been as good as they
Just
were
go
because,
out, go out, score some runs.
yeah, like,
Yeah,
just let them go out and like coach themselves,
yeah,
and because they're that good and
yeah,
they deserve
100%. Yeah,
all the accolades and the achievements they got because they're just the best,
yeah,
probably the best team ever. Like both men's, women's, just in dominance.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like,
100%.
and then you put the coach of that in an admittedly kind of chaotic and not well run environment. He's obviously not going to perform as well, but
Yeah,
like
I mean
did he have the
when he came,
qualities to
yeah,
perform at this level anyway? And by this level, I mean in a team that's clearly needing transition and is
yeah,
inconsistent.
identity. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like the wheels were slowly wobbling off when he joined because Morgan was at the end of his run of form. He was about to retire, and then the wheels are just gone. All of them have just collapsed since. Um, and that's obviously players coming to the twilight end of their careers and all that kind of stuff and form. But I just feel like I don't get anything from this team.
Mm.
Just feels a bit stapled together. But that's just us being, salty, feel salty,
Yeah. I'm gonna
cry
throw
more.
I'm gonna throw a name out and
Okay,
I'm gonna see if it's a Joffre reaction or not. Freddie Flintoff.
the coach,
Yeah.
I get him playing again. Sure. I
No,
mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that's wild. He's in the setup at the moment.
yeah, that's
I
what I'm
think
thinking. He'd be a bit
he's
more
probably
vibey as well. I think he'd,
more that bad stuff.
yeah, like he'd take the data in consideration, but wouldn't just be
Yeah,
focused on that one
I,
fixated.
no, it's not a bad shout. Maybe that's just me just being completely just at wit's end with this white ball team that I'm agreeing. But no, I think it's fair. He's coaching the Northern Superchargers in the 100 this year, so I guess we can see how that goes. Um, but I wouldn't say no. You look, for example, how Jonathan Trott has done with Afghanistan. He's done really, really well for that team and wonders for that team. They've got a clear mentality. But I think Flintoff kind of fits the vibe of this squad, and it would be quite an easier transition to be like on your back, Matt, and then Fred, you say.
Yeah,
Um,
kind of fits the ethos coming from the Basball
yeah,
side of things as well,
yeah.
but like would have his
I'm,
own sort of input and philosophy as well.
yeah, yeah. All I'm just picturing is that SpongeBob scene. I don't know if you'll know, where it's just like they're shooting a Krusty Krab ad, and Squidward's hired loads of people, and then Mr. Krabs arrives and just fires everyone. Everyone's get out, get out, get out, get out, and then there's a clown there, so not you, you stay. I just imagine that being Flintoff.
I could find with that though.
Yeah, that's fine by me. It's just
Yeah.
getting rid of everyone, but not Freddy. Um,
I mean,
cool.
on that note, we're not Jonathan Trott.
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't. Yeah, honestly, I think
Yeah.
again he's done great stuff for Afghanistan. They've done. I think he'll be very difficult to get hold of now. He's in that team and they've done well and they're building something. Um, but yeah, again, I think he's a good option. Um, but yeah, I will see what happens. It's the test matches next, but not us because we'll be back tomorrow, Jamie.
Yay.
We're going to review the final. I did think it might be because England were in it, but that was farcical of me. Very, very quick preview, and then we'll be back tomorrow. What's your prediction for how tomorrow will go? South Africa have their first final in a World Cup since their Champions Trophy final and at a year before we were born, I think. And India, who have struggled to win a tournament since 2013 in their first final, or not their first final, in a final again. Um, what do you think?
It would be really funny if India lose a final having been the best team in the tournament again,
Yeah,
but I don't see it.
I just think they're too good.
Yeah.
Um, I would say South Africa, though, they have had, I think, the harder tournament in that they've had a lot of close games and they've got over the line in every single one. That they could have lost to Netherlands, they could have lost to Nepal. Um, Probably there was definitely another one. I forget what this has gone on for so long, but they've had close games and they've come out on top, while a previous South Africa side may have struggled. So I think that either it's such a pointless point to say that either holds them in good stead because they've got through the tricky moments and are good enough, or they've been in so many tricky moments that maybe they're not as good as they're being perceived to be, and then India will just come in and smash it. Um, but if it's a fairly flat pitch, if it's not spinning, I reckon it'll be fairly even. If it's spinning, then it's India's all day.
Mhm. I'm at least hoping for a competitive match. I'm hoping it will be another sort of 170-ish score, which is it's not
Yeah,
so high that one team is clearly in the lead,
yeah,
but it's high enough for it to be a really close game, really competitive.
yeah,
And I think to your point, I think you want the harder games throughout the tournament if you're a team like South Africa.
yeah,
I think you want that to build up that momentum and sort of just like have that sort of game energy and
yeah,
running through you. Like just
yeah.
I don't think India need that because they're just
No,
gonna
I think so.
be in it and
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and good
yeah,
enough regardless of who they play. So I think it benefits South Africa to have sort of a build up to India in this sort of fashion,
I
which makes
agree.
me wonder if the semi-final is potentially a detriment because it was just over so quickly for South Africa, but then there's a bit of extra rest. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. That we'll see. I would like to see South Africa win. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Considering their whole history of, they've got the whole choking tag and stuff, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I hope it's a good game. We shall know tomorrow. Um, get hyped. Have we got anything else to say about it? I don't think so. But yeah, looking forward to it. Good times. Good times. We just can enjoy the tournament now. England aren't in it, or it does. But no, it's the two best teams in the final, and it's worked out quite nicely that both teams that have not lost a game are obviously in the final. Um, I think that must be a first for a World Cup for cricket that neither side have lost a game, um, which is pretty good. So it's meant to be. If England got into it, it would have been an absolute burgle steal of a final. So yeah, best teams have made it, and we'll be back tomorrow with no England rants.
I mean, that's well, if we've got a not crick, well, I don't want to do that. No.
Something will come up that is annoying, but we'll find a way.
You know,
Um,
I was going to say maybe the not crick about England at the Euros, but I don't care enough about England.
I just,
The Euros have been great. I don't care about England national
I
team because I
mean,
just like proper
yeah,
football.
yeah, actually watching the sport
Yeah,
and actually seeing the sport happen.
yeah. I've got a
Yeah, who
team.
goes first?
I've got a team that I support, and and
Yeah,
they play throughout the season. I don't care about
yeah,
a team that like
especially when it's
field
not. Yeah.
City players, and I just can't get over it. Like I don't give a shit about Declan Rice.
And they also just when
He's
they
playing.
don't play very excitingly, who gives a damn anyway? Um, oh well, good times.
As long as Cobby is having a good time, that's all I care about.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah,
Germany's nice to some of you, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah.
Cologne is nice. They probably have some
Yeah.
Cologne. Cool. Right, we'll be back tomorrow then. With South Africa and India final and the last day of this T20 World Cup. Thank goodness. Um, where can people find us, Jamie, if they've got this far and they want to know more?
I forgot we do that. Um, I need to remember just not crick pod. Uh, Twitter, X, Instagram,
Yeah. Yeah.
TikTok, YouTube,
Yeah.
podcast
I know to do.
places.
Podcast bases. Listen to all the stuff, all the podcasts. Um, and we'll be back tomorrow with cricket stuff again. Yay.
Yay. Boo.
Yay. Who wins?
Boo. What?
Not you. You stay.